All right, everybody, I am trying something a little bit different, but we have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
Ain't no realness in that bitch. That catfish tragic. Online savage, real life average.
Now, make sure that you're going over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression, okay? Every single Tuesday, I release another episode of the Expression podcast. It's kind of similar to the format of this, but it's definitely much longer, like an hour, over an hour. Each episode is over there on Patreon. And also the patrons have a direct say on what I talk about. They can send in comments and questions. You don't get the visuals like you do over here, but I just wanted to try this format to see what you guys thought of it. There are days when I'm like, oh, I wish I could talk to them, but I do not feel like getting my ass in front of this camera. So yeah, I just wanted to switch it up for a little bit. Don't worry, the regular videos are not going away. I just want to add this as another side, another part of what I do. But I wanted to talk about this whole, I don't know what I'm even gonna name this video yet, but I want to cover this whole Black Lives Matter Plaza. I want to talk about all this symbolism and performance and stuff that we have going on in the community, or in the political world, I should say, as well as this whole like 8 can't wait bullshit that I saw, respectability, all of this. So let's first cover this Black Lives Matter Plaza, right? So they renamed a part of some street or whatever, Black Lives Matter Plaza in DC, right? Now, I have such huge issues. I have such huge problems with this type of performance, with this type of like, is it pandering? I don't even know, girl. But there are a lot of people there are certain people, when I said that, I'm just like, girl, this shit looks, and I'm not the only one to say it. I'm far from the only one to say it, but I'm just like, this is very performative. It seems like garbage. There were some people who were just like, well, I thought it was really cool, that they would name something like this after us, and like it's our movement. And I just thought, it's not everything, but it's something, right? And to me, it's just offensive. It's insulting. To me, like, that's it. I don't find joy. I'm not like, oh my God, Black Lives Matter Plaza. It just really inspires me so much. It's not, for me, it's not none of that shit. It's just, it's actually, to me, it's insulting. And I'm going to explain to you why. So Mayor Bowser, oh, sorry, not that one. Okay, I'm sorry. Mayor Bowser. She's the one who said, hey girls, let's rename this shit. Painting the streets, honey. We just put the sign on there. Black Lives Matter Plaza. Now, but before I even get into this, wouldn't it be so ironic that, if these things continue to happen on Black Lives Matter Plaza, just like they do on the countless Martin Luther King drives, wouldn't it be so, I don't want to say hilarious, but wouldn't it be so ironic if somebody got shot in Black Lives Matter Plaza because y'all want to put up signs, they want to put up bullshit, but you don't want to actually address the root of the problem, right? Disappointed, but definitely not surprised. So Mayor Bowser, after she doing all this shit, right? She is actually increasing the DC police budget by $19 million. And you can see what we have going on here. She is increasing the budget of the police while we're over here talking about Black Lives Matter Plaza and all this shit by $19 million. A new proposed budget would also increase funding efforts for traditional policing and reduce spending on more community-based intervention programs. We already know that our communities are over-policed. We already know that the huge disproportionate amount of Black people are in prisons and jails. We already know that because of racist past and racist ideology in the present, they apply this whole profiling, from profiling all the way up until to the greatest transgressions of this, the police state. We already know that Black people are more likely to be victimized. And we already know that a lot of these governments do not put in the same amount of coin that they do when it comes to policing versus community, building up the community, education, healthcare, all of that stuff. So while sis is over here talking about Black Lives Matter Plaza, she giving the police $19 million more dollars, which, you know, that would amount to $569,493, right? As opposed to the $559 million they got last time, right? Last fiscal year. So am I supposed to be excited because she renamed that shit when they're actually, these politicians are not actually taking real steps to change, girl? She apparently vetoed a bill that would decriminalize metro fare evasion. She also is planning to build like a $400 million to $500 million jail. She's also involved with gentrification, as we expect. Let me see what's going on here. Oh yeah, she's been accused of accelerating gentrification. And of course that pushes black and low income people out of their communities. She's endorsed Bloomberg, who, I mean, we already know stop and frisk and all that bullshit, right? So, but I'm supposed to be excited about Black Lives Matter Plaza, right? Okay, that shit reminds me of Miss Keshia. Miss Keshia. We already know that what she's involved in, but it's just interesting. And she was the main one telling people to go home, go home. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about all the brutality and death that APD was responsible for, but sis said go home. This is coming from AGC. They said around 4:30 a.m. Saturday, Councilman Antonio Brown watched around 100 young people attempting to break into a Target from the balcony of his Atlanta Station condo. As police swarmed the area, he ran downstairs to de-escalate the confrontation. He asked a group of African-American teenagers about their actions. They told him that Atlanta had black leadership for years, yet they still lived in poverty. I didn't even know how to respond to that, Brown said, because it's true. Brown said that the teenagers told him that the destruction was the only way their frustration could be heard. In many neighborhoods in Brown's West Side district, the average household income is $19,000 per year. I don't see the city everybody talks about. I don't see Atlanta at all. That's what Brown was saying. Atlanta consistently ranks among the worst cities in the nation in economic equality and mobility, and critics have said that Keshia Lance Bottoms has spent more energy helping developers, that means gentrifying this bitch, than the poor, right? So we talking about all this performative shit. Miss Keshia bringing in T.I. and Killer Mike, telling everybody, oh, this is your community. If people do not see themselves, do not see their coin, do not see ownership in the community, you talking about, we supposed to be happy that two people own half of Atlanta, girl. That's why they was fucking shit up, and you was ignoring brutality and the issues that were going on in APD. It's just, you know, Miss Bowser ass, all of this performative bullshit, all of this tap dance. Keshia was over here in a protest. Meanwhile, she was not paying attention to, ignoring the advocates and organizers who were trying to get her attention, trying to solve so many social issues in the goddamn city. So I'm what the fuck is a Black Lives Matter Plaza gonna do for me, girl, when all of these issues are still in place? Then you have Deray coming down here, and I'm gonna get on you, Respectability girl, as we finish this shit up. Then you have Deray coming down here. I don't know who he getting paid from. I don't know who is paying him to make these statements. I don't know what who's signing his checks and shit. But he tried to propose this bullshit as 8 can't wait, okay? And he said data proves together these 8 policies can decrease police violence by 72%. I want you to look at what the fuck these motherfuckers proposing, right? Banning chokeholds and strangleholds. Okay, I thought a lot of police departments did that shit already, and you know, in some of the areas where this shit was banned, people have been killed by chokeholds. So it's just like, require de-escalation. You don't think that shit is written in the handbooks? Require a warning before shooting. Hey, guess what? You counterfeit. We think you were spending counterfeit money. We think you're selling loose cigarettes. Guess what? I'm gonna shoot you, bitch. You're gonna get shot. Then what is he said? Exhaust all other means before shooting. Duty to intervene. Ban shooting at moving vehicles. Require use of force. Require comprehensive reporting. This is ridiculous to me. This is ridiculous to me and so many other people, because it's like, you don't think that damn near all these police departments have at least 4 of these fucking standards put in place? They don't give a fuck. That's the whole point. They don't care. They're not gonna do it. They don't have anybody that they answering to. Who the fuck are you to tell them that they fear for or that they told somebody some shit? Remember, everybody was talking about, oh well, the body cameras, and then what did the fuckers do? They put tape over their hole. Didn't let us see the goddamn footage. And it was broken. Girl, it was so garbage that he came out here. To me, it was so garbage that Deray did that shit. And I'm so glad I'm not the only person who thought that shit. But I was like, how are you sitting here? They've been talking about reform the police for decades and motherfuckers still dying. You know what I mean? It was almost, that to me also was insulting, because if you don't think we can look up the guidelines or standards of these damn police departments, half of the shit that you're trying to push in there is already inside of these systems. The thing is that they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And I don't know, you have to really be being paid by somebody who wants to keep that shit in there to sit up here and be like, oh, well, here are some bullshit reforms that everybody's been repeating for fucking 4 decades and nothing is being done about it. No one fucking cares. So I'm glad that 8 to Abolition, I think 8toabolition.com, you can go there to see what we actually want to happen, what will actually help the community. And that's defunding the police, demilitarizing communities. They want to find a way to get rid of jails and prisons as a whole in society. And I was listening to Deshaun talk, and I was also looking at some stuff by Angela Davis. And, prisons were first seen as a reform. It was like, okay, girl, instead of executing your ass, we're going to put your ass here, or wait here to get executed first. And it's just like, okay, if that was seen as reform, we can push for better ways to keep our community safe, because obviously it's not what we have right now. It's not happening. Remove police from schools, like I said, repeal laws criminalizing survival. I can't even, and there's so many things around that, but the way that people treat people who are experiencing homelessness, the way they criminalize that shit, ridiculous. Like, because I saw somebody giving a fine to somebody who was experiencing homelessness. I was like, so where the fuck they finna get the money from? Y'all, investing in community self-governance. Of course, providing safe housing for everyone. Invest in care and not cops. The idea is that if you invest in all these other areas that are currently not being looked at, we're talking about, and you know what? Let me pull up the proposed LAPD. Yeah, this is the proposed LA budget, right? So I think the LAPD is operating at $3 billion and NYPD is operating at somewhere around $6 billion. Now, if you look at this goddamn graph, right? Emergency management, cultural affairs, recreation and parks, transportation, housing and community investment. Then you look at LA goddamn PD. Now they're already operating at $3 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So the idea is that if you invest in all of these areas that y'all are fucking ignoring, then we can have community self-governance. We can have a decrease in crime. If you have people in places where they can afford to live, everybody has their basic needs met, then obviously you're going to have a decrease in goddamn crime in general. And like I said, we already have issues with, over policing and all of that. And it's just, when you have, let me bring this up again. When you have these people in Buffalo, these police officers in Buffalo, and they pushed a 75-year-old protester down to the ground who was fucking bleeding out his head. I'm sure you saw that, right? Now, a moment ago, they were just kneeling, but then right after that, they shoved this 75-year-old white man down on the floor, on the ground. His head was just leaking blood, right? Now you have all their asses. Two of them were suspended for pushing that man to the ground. What happened after was the Buffalo police officers, 57 of them resigned in protest of the suspension of those 2 officers, right? So 57 of them said, hey girl, y'all ain't finna fuck with us like that. He shoved a 75-year-old man to the ground who wasn't doing shit and made his, split his head wide open. But that's just us, girl. Y'all just gonna have to deal with it. How the fuck do you reform some shit like that? You don't reform no shit like that. It's time to defund and get their ass out of there. It's just on period. We can find a better way to do whatever y'all think is happening. Oh, who's gonna keep us safe? The police been doing that for y'all shit. So how do you reform some shit like that? It is a whole culture that has been sucking up some billions of dollars. They don't give a fuck about the community that they police. They think they policing, and it's no accountability. You can't reform no shit like that. Get that shit out of here. Okay, so I just want us all to think about that. And while I saw some white cops and civilians washing black protesters' feet and seek forgiveness in North Carolina. This is not no communion. Open y'all purse and defund the police. I don't give a fuck about no feet washing, no ass kissing. Open your purse, defund the goddamn police. Also, I want just a last message. For those of y'all who think that y'all suits and ties are finna block bullets, I want y'all to y'all need to rethink some shit real fast. There's this weird trend going on where protesters, wear your suits and ties. Let's show them a different side of us. I'm like, y'all must be new here. They were spraying water holes in MLK face while they were in a Sunday's best. It does not matter. And I say that because there's also this idea that, okay, well, I'm a black doctor. I'm going to be a black lawyer. He's a black scientist. That's why we deserve. No, girl. That's not why we deserve to have life. We deserve to have life because we exist and we're black humans. You don't have to have no goddamn degree. You don't have to be nobody on top of nobody's board, CEO. You don't have to. I don't care if you are a custodian. I don't care if you selling weed. I don't care if you are a garbage man. I don't care if you are what society considers to be stereotypically ratchet, stereotypically ghetto, if they would look at you, because that's all they see. They're not going to ask you about your personality and your passions, and they just see you as ghetto and black, and you don't have no degree. I don't care if you fit all the bullshit check boxes that society wants to put in your face. You still deserve freedom. You deserve your rights. You deserve life. Okay, so this respectability bullshit that has been proven, they don't give a fuck about your ass being nobody's black accountant. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have on a suit and tie. You deserve simply because you are. And on that note, like I said, make sure you check out my Patreon at patreon.com/AdrianExpression. I love you all so much. Thank you all for watching, listening, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.